Hey everybody, today we are going to be doing some group annotation around chapters 3 and 4 in Animal Farm. So I wanted to provide you with a little bit of direction. So that's the intention of this video. Each of you should have been placed in a small group, and then each group has a different paragraph or excerpt from either chapter 3 or chapter 4 of Animal Farm. And today you're going to be working on a Jamboard to show your annotations. The first thing that you're going to do is kind of notice down here we have 3 different things that we're looking for in the excerpt that you've been given. So we're going to be looking for character insight. What can we learn from that paragraph or excerpt about the characters? What kind of symbolism do we see? So that requires a little bit of analysis when we dig deeper and we see different items, or just different things that the author may have placed within this excerpt to symbolize or represent something bigger. And then finally, real world connections, because we know that Animal Farm is not just about animals, it's actually about us. It's about the populace, people. So looking for how does the information presented in this excerpt connect to the real world, even today, even the real world in 2021, although it was published in 1945. Okay, and it says up here, use the pen to mark the text, then use the color coordinating sticky to add your commentary. Underline words and lines that match your sticky note. So let's first of all just take a look at character insight. I'm going to go ahead and read this paragraph to you. On Sundays, there was no work. Breakfast was an hour later than usual, and after breakfast there was a ceremony which was observed every week without fail. First came the hoisting of the flag. Snowball had found in the harness room an old green tablecloth of Mrs. Jones's and had painted on it a hoof and a horn in white. This was run up the flagstaff in the farmhouse garden every Sunday at 8 in the morning. The flag was green, Snowball explained, to represent the green fields of England, while the hoof and the horn signified the future republic of animals, which would arise when the human race had finally been overthrown. After the hoisting of the flag, all the animals trooped into the big barn for a general assembly, which was known as the meeting. Notice how that's capitalized because that's the actual title. It's known as the meeting. Here, the work of the coming week was planned out and resolutions were put forward and debated. It was the pigs who put forward the resolutions. I'm going to pause for a second there. It was the pigs who put forward the resolutions. So since we're focusing on character insight right now, I'm going to go over here and kind of grab a pen. Click. Okay. And I'm going to underline that. It was the pigs who put forward the resolutions. You can underline it. You can highlight it. Well, maybe you can highlight it. Oops, I just erased it. So let's stick with the pen. And the pen can be found on the right. On the left side of your screen. Okay, so now that I have underlined something that gives me some character insight, I'm going to go over to the left again, my little toolbar, and I'm going to grab a Post-it, a sticky note, and it's going to be yellow. I can change the colors up here, but this one I'm going to stick with yellow because yellow is character insight. So I'm going to put here, the pigs are the ones putting the resolutions forward. Which is one more sign that they are emerging as the leaders, basically bosses of the farm. They've become pretty bossy. I'm going to click save and then simply just click anywhere on the screen to kind of get rid of that. So I'm going to put that by where I underlined. Okay, let's keep reading. The other animals understood how to vote, but they could never think of any resolutions of their own. Snowball and Napoleon were by far the most active in the debates, but it was noted that these two were never in agreement. Whatever suggestion either of them made, the other could be counted on to oppose it. I'm going to notice that as well, that even though the two pigs are emerging as leaders, they don't get along. And once again, because that's character insight, I'm going to grab my yellow Post-it. They differ on many points. Save, click off the screen. There's that. I'm going to put that, I can put that over here. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about the leaders. Even when it was resolved, a thing no one could object to in itself, to set aside the small paddock behind the orchard as a home of rest for animals who were past work, there was a stormy debate over the correct retiring age for each class of animal. The meeting always ended with the singing of Beasts of England, and the afternoon was given up to recreation. So now that we've got a couple of post-it notes for character insight, we're going to focus on symbolism, and you'll notice that that's down here in green, so now I'm going to switch my post-its to green. I noticed that up here, Snowball has created a flag, which they raise at 8 a.m. every Sunday morning, so I'm going to grab my pen and highlight that. It says that Snowball found the flag in the harness room. It was a green flag, and he painted a hoof and a horn on it in white. Okay, so the other thing is the flag was green, Snowball explained, to represent the green fields of England, while the hoof and horn signified the future republic of animals. I'm gonna go over here and grab my green post-it, or sorry, sticky note. And I'm gonna say something about the symbolism there. The flag has an animal hoof on it, symbolizing animal power, right? So now the animals have taken over, and that is very symbolic. Save, click off the post-it, and then just kind of put that over here. All right, and we already know, because it says the flag was green, Snowball explained, to represent the green fields of England. So I'll leave that alone. The next thing we're going to notice would be real world connections. So how does all of this relate to the real world? Well, I think for that, we have to kind of take it back to considering propaganda, which we talked a little bit about last week. So we know that anthems, songs, remember when I sang to you guys last week, the Beasts of England song, we know that songs get into our heads. They make us believe things that we otherwise maybe wouldn't have believed, things like the Pledge of Allegiance or, you know, any kind of country's anthem. Those are examples of propaganda. So I'm going to use my pen to find where each meeting ends with the singing of Beasts of England. And I'm going to make a connection there, a real world connection with blue. I'm going to say the singing of Beasts of England is propaganda, sort of like any country's anthem, and or pledge. Let me say that. There, and I'm going to put that down here. All right, so that is how you're going to annotate the color commentary document. And again, I'll put you in small groups, and I want to see maybe 4, 5 post-its with underlining information to demonstrate exactly where in that text you found that information.